ji, good evening.
Good evening, Sinhaji. Nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah.
Good evening, Chandrasekhar ji. Good evening, Sharma sahab.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you?
Yes, we are all fine. Thank you. Nice to meet friends after a long gap.
Yes.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you.
Good evening.
Good afternoon,
Very
sir.
quickly,
Good afternoon.
please introduce, but it is only 30 seconds because we don't have much time. Just name and the organization. Finish. Yes, please, all of you. बसु जी स्टार्ट करते हैं आपसे. अनम्यूट करके आप बता दीजिए नाम आपका. नाम और काम.
हुआ है जस्ट अभी. बीच में मैं चला जाऊंगा, वो आने दे तब देखते. हाँ उसको बोल.
Sir, Vikendra Saxena from Equalitas.
प्रवीण, सबको अनम्यूट कर दो. Yes, Vikendra. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, sir. This is Mukul Johari from Equalitas.
Dr. Ashima from Apothecaries.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir. Myself, Arvind, sir, from AVS States Logistics. We are providing logistics services, sir, in Visakhapatnam, sir.
Very nice, sir. Thank you. Unmute
Hello.
करके रखो सबको, कोई बात नहीं.
Hello.
Yeah.
Very good evening, sir.
नहीं, म्यूट करो, सॉरी. म्यूट मत करो उनको, बात करने दो.
Hello.
ठीक. Yeah, tell me, boss. Divya.
Very good evening, sir.
Dhairya.
From Team Global.
Yeah. Thank you.
Chandrasekhar sir.
Chandrasekhar sir, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
It's me, Bhattacharya.
Yeah, very nice. Welcome.
Bijon Bhattacharya, retired
Welcome.
GM from CMPDI
Okay.
Ranchi.
Others, please come in.
Hello.
Chandrasekhar ji.
Hello.
Yeah.
Chandrasekhar ji.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am able to.
Okay. I am Loveleen Tandon from Equalitas Circuit Certification Limited. Good evening to everybody.
Very good evening, boss.
Hello. Shekhar sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, this is Dr. Krishnamohan, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Krishnamohan. Very welcome.
From Telangana, Jaichal, sir. Senior
nice.
faculty member, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
And good evening to everyone, sir.
Yes, good evening to everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. EM quality.
Shekhar ji, good evening. This side O.N. Srivastav, retired
sir,
scientist.
Namaskar, welcome.
Namaskar. I am retired scientist, FN head BIS.
Correct. Thank you.
Good evening, Chandra boss. Tarun Shukla here. Everybody from Mumbai.
Okay, I could see Ankur.
Yes, sir.
Shruti. Welcome, Shruti.
Chandrasekhar sir, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Arup.
Sir.
How are you, sir?
Very fine.
After long time.
Very long time. Yes, Nirmal, welcome.
Yes. Okay, thank you, sir, for inviting me.
Very right.
Okay.
Good evening,
Yeah.
everybody. Good evening.
Hashima.
This is Samir from Dubai.
Yes, Avik Mitra, sir. Welcome. Devraj.
Yeah, good evening all.
Juhi.
Myself Devraj from IMMI Models, Hyderabad.
Very nice. Dhananjay.
Good evening, sir. This is Ashima from
Very
Apothecaries.
nice. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. Kapil here from Apothecaries.
Yes, right, Kapil. Ramesh.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Randir.
Am I audible?
Johi, Johi, your
Hello?
voice is not audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Good evening to all. Myself Manisha. I'm from Equalitas Certification. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
think we will start now.
There is a problem with Juhi also speaker.
It's okay. I think we will start now. We will have a group photograph of all of us at the end.
Good evening,
all
sir.
of you at one screen.
Good
We will
evening.
come. So we will
Good evening,
start
sir.
the session.
Good evening, sir.
Welcome you all.
I'm Alok from NetLeads.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Yeah.
Johi, your I think there is a problem in your speaker.
Hello.
Can you hear now? Yes, Juhi, now we can hear you.
Sir, please unmute
Thank you.
mute all the participants first. Sir.
Yeah, I think now we will start. Praveen?
Yes, sir. I'm
Yes, sir.
unmuting all.
You can unmute everyone, then we'll start.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Only Shekhar sir will be unmuted. Remaining all, please mute.
Yes, unmute everyone, we'll start.
Okay, sir. You can start.
A Monday good evening to all of you. Welcome to the session on risk management guidelines. Oh, 1 minute. I think there is a different slider I have opened. You will have to give me 1 minute time. The slider is not, the PPT opened is not the correct one. Let me. So this is the risk of putting 2-3 PPTs at one place. No, this is correct. I think only this. Yeah. Welcome to this session on risk management guidelines. This is completely in line with the ISO standard, that is 31,000, the revised publication that took place in the year 2018. But apart from that, now there are more amendments that are likely to come in this risk management even after the effect of COVID. We could see plenty of examples of the risk management guidelines that are implemented even in the management of the COVID management by the Government of India as well as the state governments, even at the local level at the district administrators. So today's session covers primarily all the family of standards that are connected to the risk management. The family of standards connected to the risk management are: one, definitely the guidelines of ISO 31000 risk management guidelines. Then there is a vocabulary guideline that is on Guide 73. But the Guide 73 was published in the year 2009, whereas the risk management guidelines were published in 2018. So there are around, I think, 12 terms have been redefined, and they are only mentioned here. For the rest of the terms, we will have to refer to Guide 73 only. So that means Guide 73, even till today, is an active document apart from the definitions that are given in ISO 31000. Then there is another standard. This is a risk management assessment techniques standard. This is on 31010. This is on assessment techniques, both for risk and opportunity assessment, both the risk and opportunity assessments this covers. And this is the dual published standard. In the series, I have now come across this as the first standard as a dual published standard. Means published by both ISO as well as IEC. Both the organizations have published this. That's why this standard has got both the logos. So we will be covering this in this series. The last session of this series is the risk assessment techniques. Then we have another technical report. This is a risk management guidance for the implementation of risk management. So this is a guidance technical report. So this technical report is also part of the family of risk management standards. So that's why the technical report is also considered. This is published in the year 2013. Then we have sector specific risk management standards. So the sector specific risk management standards is ISO 27005, that is risk management for ISMS. So you could see that this standard is specifically for 27,000. But whereas even after the publication of this, now we have the 2018 one. So most of the aspects of the 27,005 has already been incorporated into 31,02018 standard. So our coverage today, the introduction to the risk management standards, covers this summary of all except the risk management techniques. We are taking it exclusively on the day last. So we'll show you that. So some of you might have already seen earlier this standard was published in the year 2009. Now it has been revised in 2018. The title is, it is a guidance standard. As you know, a guidance standard is not a certifiable standard. So mostly all management system standards, whether it is 9,000, 14,000, 45,000, 22,000, any standard for that matter, they are all risk-based standards. So the risk assessments and risk mitigations are the part of the requirements of all the standards. So the guidelines that are stated in the 31,000 have been modified and converted into requirements, and then they have been incorporated in those standards. Then risk review is part of requirements or of all the standards. So we'll also see the standard here as a part of this session. So now you could see the risk management is now covered in all the standards, whether it is 9, 14, 45, 27, 20, 23, 22, for that matter, any standard that is, any requirement standard, I mean to say, that is published after the year 2013. So 2013 is the first time, that's where the ISO 27001 has been published, and thereafterwards the 2015 in ISO 9000, 45,000 in 2018, 14,000 in 2005, like that it went on. And this risk-based thinking is an inherent process in every activity that we do. It is so automatical and is also often very subconscious we do that. I was giving in my previous session one simplest example in the risk management. This is a family of wife and husband. both of them are working. So naturally at 9:30, but nowadays in the lockdown condition, nobody goes out. But during the normal working days, they will have to go to office. So 9 o'clock, they leave home. 6 o'clock, they come back. So one thief perfectly conducted a recce and found out. So what are the timings of going out? What are the timings of getting in? Who are all available? Neighboring the flat, everything has been done. It has been very successfully, meticulously, a risk plan has been done by that thief. So 9 o'clock, both wife and husband, they have gone out for the job. And this guy enters at 10 a.m. in the house, in the flat, because they have their own mechanisms of opening their keys and etc. So then he was very coolly packing everything into the bag that he brought. This house lady, she forgot something, so she returned back somewhere around 11 a.m. She has the key, she opened the lock and opened the door. The moment she opened the door, she saw that thief packing everything. Could you guess what was the response of that house lady? Anyone can answer now. You can just unmute your button and answer what could have been her response the moment she has opened and saw the thief is packing all the materials that he wanted to take away.
She must have called for help.
Huh?
She must have called for help.
Yeah, that's what one type of risk management. Okay, anyone else?
She would have logged back the. She would have logged back the room. She would have logged back the room first.
She would have
logged back the room and then
very
come out
right.
and
Absolutely, what she has literally done is she has locked back her room by saying, "I am very sorry, I entered a wrong flat," as if she is not at all the owner of the flat. Then thief felt he is safe, and then he coolly again he started packing. Then she locked it from outside and called the police. If she would have cried for the help, and there could be possibility that he would have injured. You know, at that spur of the moment, she has identified the risk. She has analyzed the risk. She has evaluated the risk, and she has treated the risk. You can now imagine that the risk management is automatically and is often very subconscious. So one need not to do any huge attempt to do a risk management. And we naturally do that also. But however, it does not mean that the guidelines that are stated in this ISO standard will not be useful to us. They are more useful to make the risk management a planned approach. And in a very planned way, the risk management can be implemented by using the successful experiences of the world in managing the risks. Earlier, this risk was always an implicit in ISO 9001 and 27001, etc. It's not that these standards did not have any mention about the risk management earlier. They were having the risk management. Then this is considered from beginning through the end, from starting to end. So risk management is considered from the beginning to the end in every project, every process, every operation that we do. It's not a standalone, only at one point we do the risk management and other places we do not do the risk management. And now it has completely replaced the preventive action part of all management systems to a strategic and operational planning level. So that's what risk management is got now elevated into a strategic level. So for this purpose, we have recently implemented a consultancy project with one of the organization, that's a central PSU. It's a full scale we have implemented, and we have developed the complete risk management system to them. We thought we'll also share that. Of course, definitely the confidentiality information is protected, but rest a structure we will definitely show you as a part of this session. We planned it that way to show you that. So you could also now look at the risk-based thinking in all the standard. Now I'm taking one as a sample, is a quality management system standard. You could see in the clause number 4, this is the 10 clause structure base, clause number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So most of the participants in this room who are all listening to this session, they're all, I believe, most of them are aware. There could be few members, they may not be aware, that's a different one. But most of them are aware that the current clause structure of the management system is, that is clause number 4 to 10 are the requirement standard clauses. So clause number 4, it says determine its QMS and ISMS processes and address its risks and opportunities. So clause number 4, risk is inbuilt. Clause number 5 also talks about awareness of risk-based thinking by the top management. That also talks about. And 5 also further talks risks and opportunities that can affect the product and service conformity. It also talks about risk management. Even clause number 6 that you know very well, planning is nothing but it's a risk management planning, risk and opportunity planning. Okay, but I mentioned it here as identify. This is a wrong word to express. That's the reason why I have put it here as in the red color. Can anyone in this group should tell me what should be the most appropriate word here as per the standards than of identify?
Determine.
Determine.
Very right, absolutely correct. So determine the risks and opportunities related to different standards and performance and take appropriate actions to address them. So now the focus, maximum emphasis has been given to risks and opportunities. So when the standards were published in the beginning, that is 2013, 15, etc., the certification bodies, when they are auditing, they were mostly focusing only on risks. But today, there is a change. The thought process of auditors have changed because guidelines have come to them from their accreditation boards. Do not only look for risks, but also look for the opportunity management also. So they started looking at these things. Then clause 7, clause 8. Clause 8, though risk is already there. The risk is an implicit wherever suitable or appropriate is mentioned in the standard. In the standard, they mentioned as many places that suitably it is to be applied, appropriately it is to be done. That means it's nothing but risk management is implemented. Then clause 9 talks about, again, monitor, measure, analyze, evaluate the effectiveness of actions taken to address risks and opportunities. 10 again talks about correct, prevent or reduce undesirable effects and improve the management system and update the risks and opportunities. So that means literally we have seen in clause number 4 onwards up to clause 10 in all the standards without fail, risk is inbuilt into the requirements. And these inbuilt requirements are borrowed from the guidelines published in 31,000. That's what we are dealing today as a independent guideline standard because it has got common effect to all the standards. And why?
Sorry to disturb, sir. Some of them cannot see the PPT. They are written on the chat.
You could not read the PPT?
They cannot see the PPT.
You are seeing it on mobile or laptop?
I don't know the people who have mentioned on the chats.
Yes,
Please
sir.
update
It
to
might
sir.
be a problem
Oh.
of their bandwidth.
Okay. So then give me a 2 minutes time. Let me increase the font size. Then you can see that easily. Let me do that. Thank you for feedback.
No, sir, I think it is a bandwidth issue. I think it's a bandwidth issue. People can go to your YouTube channel to see that. I can see the slide both the places.
Okay. May please come back again. I am not able to have a clarity of voice.
I'm saying it could be a internet issue.
Now you have to come back. Come little closer to the mic.
I say it is an internet issue. It looks like an internet issue.
Acha, could be it is an internet issue. Okay, fine.
Yes,
could be
I
possible.
can see the
Yes.
slide. They can go to your YouTube, the same link which is there on the chart.
Yeah, very right. Possible. Yeah.
No need to change size. It is clearly visible.
Okay, fine. Then I'll go ahead with that. Could be because of the internet issue. But let me emphasize. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
There is a suggestion. All that participant can go in the view options of their Zoom call and see, put side by side. Then they will see their picture and the screen together.
Correct.
So just go to the view options. Everybody who is not able to see the PPT, view options and choose side by side mode. You will see everything.
So please use this mode. He has recommended side by side mode in the view options.
Yeah, then it will be clear.
Thank you.
Welcome. Please, sir.
Yes, Samir from Dubai. Are wah.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Technical expert. Yeah, we are looking for you. Are wah. Great to connect.
So you can continue, then we can chat later.
Yeah, we'll chat. And then also I'll introduce, you can also have a little bit introduction from your side.
Okay, perfect.
To all, yes.
Perfect.
Okay, so this we have, yeah, okay, right. That we could see that the successful organizations, it says intuitively apply risk-based thinking because of various benefits that they have seen in the organization. Now, for that matter, that I was sharing with you, we have got a very rich experience recently. The board of directors are very keen to implement risk management in their organization as an enterprise risk management. Do you know why? There were very many limitations in the Companies Act, the SEBI, as well as other legislative part. Because anything happens anywhere, the director is directly penalized. So director gets in. And there is good example of Infosys and a good example of there are other companies where the directors were punished. Okay, so that's why improve governance, the top level, the board governance, and establish a proactive culture of improvement, assist with compliance, assure consistency of quality products and services. Finally, the customer confidence and satisfaction, because this organization will be able to continue its business because it has taken care all the risks and it has got mechanisms to address the risks, if at all, that it affects. So risk-based thinking, the definition, the effect of uncertainty. So there are, and this effect is a deviation from the expected, positive or negative. But now there is a new addition that has come, the effect of uncertainty on desirable objective. So the desired objective, whatever is the desired objective, if the desired objective, there is an uncertainty, it is possible to happen or not possible to happen. then it is called the uncertainty with the desired objective. And this uncertainty has got actually two types of uncertainty. One kind of uncertainty is inbuilt in the whole process. For example, if we have a coin, if we toss the coin, so the uncertainty is only either head or tail. That's all. Any one will come definitely. If it is a hexagon, so any one of the 6 sides will appear. 5 sides will not appear. So that is an uncertainty which is an inherent. But whereas the other uncertainty is, it is not that simply calculative. You need to depend a lot on your own intuitive calculations based on the previous data for likelihood of occurrence calculation, as well as your impact calculations. So this is other definitions. Okay, other parts of the notes, you can go through that. I will not talk about. Right. The risk definitions and also the risk management guidelines, apart from the ISO, there is one more organization in the world that is called COSO, Committee of Sponsoring Organizations of Threadway Commission. This organization is primarily an association of accountants, and they developed this model, and they are working very closely on this risk COSO framework. And this COSO framework is also more or less nearer to our ISO 31000 risk framework. So the popular notion, generally risk means a chance that something bad could happen. Kuch galat ho sakta hai, something bad could happen. In our medical equipment standard 13485, it says combination of the probability of occurrence of harm and the severity that harm. 9000, effect of uncertainty on an expected result. And an effect is a positive or negative deviation from what is expected. 31000, effect of uncertainty on objectives. That we have already discussed. And COSO framework, it says, the definition is, risk is the possibility that events will occur and affect the achievement of objectives. So in this, we have also brought in the COSO framework just to give you an idea and comparison, so that those who would like to explore more and do the research on the risk management, you can go ahead and the net, it is available in the net. So the risk management here, even from IAQG point of view, this is in aerospace standard. In the aerospace standard, they have defined it is an undesirable situation or circumstance, again, likelihood and potentially negative consequence. So that is by the International Aviation Quality Group. So myself and S.A. Sharma sir, we both have worked in developing a aviation quality manual for our defense sector in India, and that has been now under implementation with Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, both the plants at Bangalore and Nasik. So even in the auditors, the auditing considerations, now you know that I think tomorrow is auditing guidelines, including the remote auditing part. So the risk management is one part of that auditing guidelines. So the auditors will now be looking to ensure that the risk assessment process is used very clearly from product to service realization and managed throughout. So this is how the history and the genesis of the standard. So you could see starting from different standards, then coming at the first publication that took place as an independent standard, an ISO standard in the year 2009. Now it has been revised. And with the experiences of COVID, they would further amend, and then they would also release, because those experiences are going to be more from health concerns, and it may impact the occupational health and safety standards. So the guidelines part of the standard. So I think instead of showing it here, let me take directly to the standard. It would be easy. So for most of you, you can easily navigate and also read through that. That will be more appropriate. So this is the standard. Yeah, good. This is the full standard. So it has got certain principles. We will be talking about those principles, and it has a framework and it has a process.
Sir.
Yeah.
Your PPT is in.
अच्छा ये इसको शेयर नहीं किया, उसको शेयर करना है मुझे. Okay, right, got it. Yeah, very nice. Now we could see all. Yes, is it okay now?
Not yet.
Huh?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. 1 minute. Then let me do that first. Let me go to the share, and I will have to pick up the standard, then share. Now it should be.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, it is. Right.
Yes,
Good.
sir.
Yeah. So now this is the standard, the risk management guideline standard. So if you look at the content, primarily it is talking about 3 components in the whole guidelines. The first one talks about the principles, then a framework, then the process. But the assessment techniques are not given here. That is a different standard. I told you this is ISO 31010. That got published in the year 2019. That is last year. So that also we have kept a session. That is the part of this series, the last session. So first session is starting with the risk. Last session ending with the risk assessments in this series. So we'll be talking about them. So now let's come back to first. So that's how these 3 components, we'll come back to these components. Now let me show you the scope part of the standard. So as we know, this is only a guidelines on management of risk faced by the organizations. So the application of these guidelines, they can be customized. So what is important is the guidelines are made in such a way that organization can customize, country can customize, depending upon even their local conditions as well as the regulatory, the legislative requirements too. It is providing a common approach that's not specific to any industry, that is universally applicable, generic in nature, and it can be customized. Then this can be used throughout the life cycle of the organization. To any phase of the life cycle. Then to any activity, including the decision making at all levels, including the board level decision making. The one that we talked about, the board level work that we have done, we will discuss with you. That is the work of completely strategic level at a board level. Okay, now we come to certain definitions we have already discussed. You can go through those definitions. Now we'll come back to so the slide size, yes. Now this talks about completely the principles embedded in this standard of risk management guideline standard. As you know, something gets the status of a principle when it is already proven. It is giving similar results even if it is done today. We can experience the evidence of results, the same result. Thereby, it generates a confidence in us that it will give the future also the same results. That's the reason why that particular concept gets a status of a principle. So that's how all of them, they got the status of principles in risk management. Means they were proven in organizations. That means any organization that has implemented, they are successful in handling the risks. Today, that is proving to be correct. Thereby, that has given the confidence to the whole world that it will also happen in the future the same way. But a principle is different from an equation. Even equation would also have similar attributes, like H2 plus O2 is equal to water. So the H2 plus O2 is also proven in the past, proven today, and will be proven tomorrow, even after 20 years or even 100 years to go. Except if something like COVID comes, we don't know what will happen to that attribute. But that will be there. But that is only called an equation, that is not called a principle. Because it does not have a wider application. If something that has got a wider application of proven in the past, proved in the today, and will have same effect in the future, then we call it as a principle. Like a good example of Newton's principles, Archimedes' principles, Ohm's law, Ahimsa from Mahatma Gandhi, like that. So the principles are integrated, structured and comprehensive, customized, inclusive, dynamic, with best available information, and taking into human and cultural factors, and it has to be a continual, regular process. Every time the approach needs to be improved upon. Now, let me give you a little bit brief on integrated. So the integrated part is this needs to be integrated with the management of the regular operations. It cannot be a standalone. It has to be integrated with the quality management, information security, occupational health, or for that matter, business continuity, any of the management actions and activities. So this needs to be, that is what is integrated. And a structured and comprehensive, if you have got a good structure of risk management, so that it becomes comparable and you can even easily benchmark with them. Let's say as a top management, I would like to know what was the risk score earlier before a control has been deployed and after a control has been deployed. If the control has been deployed before and after, if it is a structured and comprehensive, then you can measure and say it is an apple to apple comparison, and you can say it is improved. But if you change the scale in between and it is not structured, then you will not be able to tell whether there is a change with the control deployment or not. You cannot tell. Then it needs to be customized. I've already mentioned in one of the point. So you have to customize according to your local context, legislation, and your nature of your business and your customers' requirements. Inclusive of the opinions and views of all the relevant stakeholders into the business. And it has to be dynamic, so keep on changing. Do with the best available information and take into account the human and cultural factors. And it should be a continual improvement process. So the human and cultural, why it is to be taken? Because some places, one culture, the other another culture. For example, a risk in Japan, risk in India may not be the different. If you display simply there, do not enter into this room, server room, do not enter. A display is there. No one enters in Japan. And you display that in our railway stations and see, please do not enter. And what will happen now? Everybody enters. So you need definitely a big lock or a full security power to stop their people to enter. So simply display is not enough. So that's why the human and cultural factors. So that's talking about primarily the principles part. So now there are 8 principles. Earlier you might have seen there were 11 principles, but there are some common aspects. So they clubbed together and made it into 8 principles most appropriate. So all of them for value creation and protection of business interests in the organization. So now we go to the framework part. Now this is the framework. Look at the framework. This framework is following more or less the Edward Deming's PDCA model. It is talking about the one of the integration. Integration, you have also seen it in the principle. So it has to be integrated to the nature, to the business in its operations from zero. Start from zero till the end, throughout the aspects of life cycle. So that is integration. Then design, that is a plan, implement, do, evaluate, check, improvement, that is your act. The center in this is the leadership and commitment. That's in the center part of it. That is the main core part of it. Then we go to the process part of it is. So the process part talks about, apart from the process, there are certain other connected guidelines that are provided here. So one is the risk assessment needs to be within the scope, context, and criteria. So the communication and consultation, monitor and review, recording and reporting. Then this is generally known as the steps in the risk management, which includes the risk assessment. Risk assessment and risk treatment both put together are called risk management. But now the risk management process, not only these two of risk assessment and risk treatment, it includes the other elements of scope, context, criteria, then communication, consultation, recording, reporting, monitor and review. So the risk assessment includes risk identification, risk analysis, and the risk evaluation. I gave you that simple example that in the flat, the moment she entered, the house lady saw the theft, the thief. So that is risk identification. She has analyzed, this fellow is very dangerous if I do something now. Then she evaluated, then immediately closed the door. That is nothing but treatment. Then called the police, thereby he is penalized. So apart from that, communication and consultation is one of the wider element that has been emphasized. Then recording and monitoring, recording and reporting, sorry, then monitoring and review, scope, context. So these are the three primary elements of the risk management in any organization, talking about the 8 principles, risk framework with the 6 components, then the risk process. So that brings to the end of the risk management standard. Apart from that, there are certain guidelines that are given. So you can go through them in the standard. So that talks about the bibliography is also given. So that's about the risk management. So then I'll stop this. Then I'll go to one more share, which I told you that we have developed this manual. Yes. Okay. Now share. Yes, this one. Share. Yeah, this is the practical work that we have done to an organization. So you can look at and you can draw the learnings from this. So this is Enterprise Risk Management Policy Manual, and we have given our name, MacLead certifications. Now this is revised. So the table of content will give you what are all the components, introduction, risk management, and there is a hedging policy because this organization is involved with the foreign currency, risk management objectives, the RMO organization, their framework, and the process. And there are, because this is developed in India, the Companies Act 2000, the provisions applicable to board of directors, because this is done at a strategic level. Then duties of independent directors, code of conduct to the board of directors and top management, roles and responsibilities of the complete management organization, risk management procedures, fraud risk management, whistleblower policy, significant action activities and functions. So the various abbreviations used, terms and definitions that I could see, introduction to risk management. So this is how it goes on. So that's right. So the hedging policy, the risk management policy, as well as the hedging policy. So this provides the direction to the organization. In that, hedging policy talks about the foreign currency. If at all there is a reduction, what will happen to that risk? So it takes care of that. The objectives to the organization and the structure. You could see that, board of directors, the apex committee, the enterprise risk management committee. There is an auditing team, the business heads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is a risk assessment teams also in each of the business units. And the risk management framework, so we have used more or less the same framework, which is like the COSO framework basis, the same that has been used here. The factors that considered for the risk, so we have mentioned the commitment, leadership, design part. So like that, this goes on. The risk management process, again, the same process is adopted as per the 31,000 guidelines. So the communication, each one we have elaborated, how does this work in the organization? So this is the guideline for them, the scale for the risk management, both for consequence as well as likelihood or probability. And this is the combination table, the significance and likelihood of probability table, risk evaluation, risk treatment. So that's how. So, and then all the annexures that goes, that whatever I've read out. This is Companies Act, what are the various provisions, risks to the board of directors, how do they control, how do they take further actions. So an awareness is created in them. So then the next annexure, because there are a lot of legal provisions. I think you might have heard our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, one of the packages of COVID, she has announced that she has removed many of the criminal penalty clauses from the Companies Act. Otherwise, earlier it was criminal in nature. So people were put behind bars. So at least that safety is there now. So the declaration form, they have to declare that they are not directors in many of these companies like that. The declaration form and an acknowledgement, duties of independent directors. Nowadays, many organizations, they go for that. And then board of directors, declarations from the top management, code of conduct for the board of directors and top management. And in this, one of my very good friend and colleague, Mr. Ashok Chopra, is from Jain and Chopra Associates, is a chartered accountant. He has helped me in this document. Apart from the other team members with us is Mr. Nandi, Praveen, Mr. Sanjeev Guliani. They all have helped in this document in developing this. So the roles and responsibilities of directors. Yeah, I think that's all. That's how it goes. And I think now I completed, and even the time is also up. So I can open the question and answer. So whatever I have to, whistleblower policy is one more. I think, let me see if anything else left over as a part of that. Significant activities and functions that are covered in the organization. Yes, they are covered. I think that's all. So with this, I stop sharing. Now I am open to the questions, but not only me, I request, because here, this group literally is a stalwart group of management systems in the world now, with the international community joining. And particularly, I could see Samir in that, who is one of the veterans. So this is both now, the COVID has given this opportunity to all of us. So anyone can answer. There is nothing that only one can answer. And then anyone can pose the questions. Yes, I leave the floor open to all of you. You can please unmute and ask the question. So I've talked about primarily the standard, the three components of the standard in terms of the principles, framework, and process, and also the sample manual guideline, and how it is covered in different management systems, starting from ending. That's how I did it. So now open to you all, please. But one after the other, huh? Yeah. Yes, Mukul, dadi bada diya hai.
To ask a question.
Yes, please. Dr. Varsha Mehta,
Good
please.
evening.
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you that these are the same standards that are followed in the laboratories also, apart from NABL and others, these also need to be followed?
Very right,
for
madam.
the diagnostic laboratories?
Absolutely, they would be very helpful because these are only a guidelines. Definitely the concerned requirements are given in your laboratory standard like 17025, and the medical laboratory directory also has got a risk management requirements in that. And nowadays, even they have also modified their standards to incorporate this risk management into the laboratory standards.
Okay.
Even I could see the CMMI, that is capability maturity model, they have also incorporated risk management into the framework as a basic requirement in the risk management, in the CMMI model of software development, services, people CMM, as well as cyber security model also.
Okay.
Definitely, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, Ravleen Kannan.
Yes, Lavleen sir.
PCL. My question is a little bit different. Is always risk negative?
No, sir. The effect of risk can be positive. That's why it is always says risk and opportunity, they go together. If I actually time also, but if it is okay, then I can give you a simple example. Let's say you received a telephone call, one from your friend, one from the Chota Shakil group. Both of them will give, they are giving you a threat call to transfer 5 lakh of rupees. So to Chota Shakil, you will consider as a risk and transfer 5 lakhs. To your friend, you will convert that as an opportunity, ask him to pay you 5 lakhs. Because he has never done. So the opportunities are connected to that. It's both. And there are also opportunity assessment methods. And some of the methods that are described in ISO 31010 are talking about the opportunity assessment methods too, which includes the simplest one is a SWOT, is an opportunity assessment method. So we'll talk about these on the last session, that is the 9th day.
Okay. Sir, I have a question. You say risk is always an opportunity.
Yeah.
Then why mitigation is required?
Yes, Rajendra, very good. All risks are not opportunities.
Okay.
Risks would have consequences and their likelihoods. They may result into a negative effect also. So anything that is having a potential to have a negative effect, we have to mitigate by applying suitable controls.
Got it, sir. Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Arup, you have to unmute. Yeah, now speak. Yeah.
Can I ask? This, as you said, risk management is replacing the preventive action.
Yes.
In the quality management system.
Correct, sir.
The preventive action is mostly done when you find certain issues and with related you want to correct the for the other system, that is preventive action.
Correct.
But risk management, but it can start from the design stage. Is true?
Very right, sir. Risk management starts from the zero stage. What actually in the standard they also mentioned it, beginning to the last. Sir, if you also remember, the definition of our corrective action in the current context is also now been made wider. So the corrective action definition is, it is action on cause of non-conformities to prevent recurrence of that result. Apart from that, even a cross deployment of that is also a corrective action.
Correct.
So literally now the risk has become, it is only for potential that are likely to happen in the future. That's why preventive action is that word we don't see nowadays in these standards.
Very wider scope.
Correct, wider scope.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, just want to ask, Just now, as you said, that corrective action is not applicable. But
no, preventive action को बोला बस, corrective action is applicable.
No. Corrective action is, are we differentiating standard wise? But because in 13485 we doesn't take any corrective action. But
आपका आवाज कट रहा है बीच में.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Now clear. Yeah. Tell me please. Yeah.
As per these different standards, the preventive action is taken more comparative to corrective actions, and on the basis of risk.
Correct.
Right. But if the preventive action is there, is it compulsory that corrective action should be taken?
See the boss. See, corrective action, preventive action ka focus is different. See, corrective action is focusing on already a non-conformity has already occurred.
Yes, correct.
So there is a cause for that. There is a root cause for that. So you are addressing that root cause so that in the future it will not reoccur again. But for risk, it has not happened. It may happen, it may not happen. That's why the definition says it's the effect of uncertainty. May happen, may not happen. Just Rajendra now has asked a question. So if the opportunity risks are there, then why should we take? So even in the risk also, it is not guaranteed that it is likely to have a negative impact, but it may or may not happen. So you have to take the risk as a future one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, Sumit. Yeah, any other questions, please?
No, Sumit asked some questions, I think.
Yeah, let him answer. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to unmute his.
Sumit, your voice.
Unmute करके बात करो यार. Okay, somebody else can take over. No problem.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Now to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. My question is about the applicability of the standards in terms of MSME.
Yes.
Because in MSME, as a consultant, we have already initiated an approach for risk-based thinking. But being in this standard is above a level of that.
Okay.
So please give me an example in terms of any process in which this standard can be integrated with earlier 9001 and so on standards to robust the risk-based management system.
Okay. I think you might not be there, but in the beginning slides of mine has covered the same. It is embedded in every standard.
Yeah.
9001, 27, every standard. So it is from the beginning, clause number 4 to clause number 10, it is covered.
So again, sir,
yeah.
So how this standards robust the risk-based approach? How can we practically integrate it?
Actually,
in terms
very good question. See, currently the standards published 9001, 27 like that are EMS 45,000, 14 or 45. They only converted the they published the requirements in the risk, but not all the guidelines.
Yes.
They do not talk about all principles. They do not talk about the full process. Even for that matter, if you read the standard, nowhere it says it requires a formal risk management approach also. Nowhere. So, but
how to do?
Yeah. So that's why this standard helps you to do that. So you can incorporate that very well. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes, please.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Code of conduct for organizations you have written in your manual. I have seen it.
Correct.
Is there any code of conduct for people who conduct clinical trials, especially for release of any drugs?
A very good question. Undoubtedly, they have got a code of conduct in the clinical trials. because I am also one of the director in one of the clinical research organization. There are ethical committees, code of conduct for the investigators, code of conduct even for every clinical research agent, because उनका consent लेना होता है patient का, और डॉक्टर का मॉनिटर करना होता है, एवरी टाइम रिजल्ट बताना होता है, वो तो सब है सर, उसमें है. विदाउट दैट नहीं, अगर विदाउट नहीं होता है तो जैसा ट्रम्प ने बोल दिया ना, आपने यू माइट हैव सीन इन द न्यूज, वी आर टेकिंग इट लाइक ए वॉर, लाइक मैनहट्टन वॉर. तो आज मंकी के ऊपर एक्सपेरिमेंट किया एंड कल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स के ऊपर, ऐसा नहीं होगा, है फुल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट देयर.
I was your student, sir, in way back in 2005, where I have
long back, very nice.
2005, sir. Ranadir sir was my tutor then.
Randir is also here in this group now. Very good.
I have seen, but his photograph is missing.
Yeah, his photograph is missing.
I've just come. I'm coming.
Hey, he's coming. He's coming now.
So Ajay sir he gave me this lead.
Very good.
My son is doing MS in clinical trials.
Oh, very good.
From Ireland.
Yeah, that's a very good.
So I wanted this boy to take this up.
Very good. Most needed one for them. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay, now I request all of you, please switch on your video.
So Nirmal here.
Yeah,
I have one query. Yeah.
एक मिनट यार करते हैं. सब लोग अपना अपना फोटोग्राफ्स ऑन कर दीजिए. बीच में एक फोटो ले लेते हैं हम लोग. ग्रुप फोटोज. ये आले को श्रुति आ गया अभी. चलो ग्रुप फोटो. Very right. Yes, Nirmal, how are you?
I am good, sir. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very fine. Now go ahead.
After a long time, I saw.
Yes, after long. Tell me.
Yeah. So, I was implemented as well as currently I am assessing the other organizations based on the risk assessment principles and the guidelines, whatever it is. So, my question is for both the sides. So, what are the mechanisms or principles need to be followed by the implementer as well as assessor, so that they can have or they can find out the best possible risk during their assessment, as we have the identification, evaluation. Other than that, what are the principles they have to follow, so that if they're missing something, how they can manage that? That's what.
Good question. The question that I will summarize. So both from an implementer point of view as well as an assessor point of view,
right?
Are there any different principles they have to follow? Both of them, implementer and assessor.
Correct.
Now I think I leave the floor open to all of you instead of I answer everything. So let me see. Somebody can take it up. If the question is clear, others can take it up, please. Praveen, you are taking a good photograph so that you can circulate to all?
Yes, sir. I'm taking.
Okay, fine. Yeah, now I leave open. Anybody would like to answer?
Hi, Mr. Nirmal. Your question is related to the schools, I believe.
Yeah.
No, not school. But it's as a generic principle, like being a implementer in any organization or being an assessor for any organization. What are the principles need to be followed, so that they need to have the fair risk assessment based thinking or risk assessment based principle?
When you are implementing a system, you have to give a justice to the implementation by ensuring the compliance. So which standard you are referring for the implementation, maybe it's a 9001 or 14001. So you have to give full justice to the compliance to the requirements as an implementation. But when you go as an assessor, so you have to check whether the compliance is available or not. So these are the two different subjects, but at the end, the job of both the parties, it's like one person is manufacturing a product, other person is a quality checker. So the job of both the people is to produce correct product for the market, for the end user. So whether you are an assessor or you are a consultant, your job is to ensure that the end result, which is the value addition for the organization, has to be there. Am I correct?
My answer is, sir.
Very right. Yeah.
Yeah, my answer is, sir, first of all, we should take about the compliance. Next, we go about PDCA management. Then only that implementation and this one will succeed.
Very fine. I think we will go to the other question, but more or less, Nirmal, I think you got the answer.
Correct.
So both are needed. From all principles would be applicable, but you have to see what is the end result. Is it giving that? Good. Very good.
So, sir, one more question I have, like risk-based thinking. Can we have opportunity-based thinking?
Very right. Risk-based thinking means, actually you are very right. I think the organization should now start talking about risk and opportunity-based thinking. Fantastic.
Correct.
Very good addition.
So that's the reason in the new version of ISO, they mention not only risk management, they talk
risk and opportunity.
Correct. Absolutely. I think that's the right way of expressing. But Rajendra ne bola hai na abhi to.
Correct.
Generally, we are oriented toward risk. But the right is both risk and opportunity. That's a good addition from your side. Good.
Standard also they have replaced.
Yeah.
Both words are
This is a live example. Like because of this crisis, there was a risk and it's an opportunity. Mr. Chandrasekhar created a platform to connect together. We all are students of Mr. Chandrasekhar. Connecting together is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we are talking on risk, but enjoying the opportunity.
Yeah, that's an opportunity. Very right. Absolutely. So now anyone from anywhere can be connected.
Every entrepreneur starts with opportunity and covering all the.
Correct.
World is very small, sir. So
yeah, that's true. Okay. Any other questions? If not, then thank you. Already little bit late, but we will meet tomorrow again with a different subject. The tomorrow's subject is on the auditing guidelines as per the new version, that of 2018 version, along with in the month of February, March, April, after the COVID, the accreditation boards, IAF, they have released some guidelines for auditing. That is remote auditing.
Right.
So how to do remote auditing? What are the guidelines for remote auditing? So tomorrow we will be covering that. So one of our senior faculty member whom I referred as Mr. S.C. Sharma and Mr. Sanjeev Guliani, they have collected all the necessary information, and tomorrow we'll be discussing that with all of you.
IAQG has also released the.
Yes.
Yes, we have also taken a note of that. IAQG का भी एक डाल दिया उसमें किया है.
Okay, sir. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Good night, sir.
Okay. Good night to all of you.
Bye. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Chandrasekhar sir, you're from Hyderabad, sir?
Yes, originally from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
But नोएडा में आके ना यहाँ ये सारा जो है सारे मुकुल समीर ये सारा लोग हमको यहीं पकड़ लिया, अंकुर ये सबको बोला यहीं रहो. तो जाना नहीं है, हिलना नहीं है. तो हम हिले नहीं.
Your face is very familiar face, sir.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good night to all of you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Have dinner. Safe night.
Good night.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night. I've sent a question for you in chat, sir.
I know. We will reply that. Chat का questions का reply दे देंगे. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Okay.
Nice,
Good night.
nice session.
Good night,
Nice
everybody.
session.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chandrasekhar, sir. Good night, sir.
See you tomorrow. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.